Our speaker this morning has called Denton home since the age of 1. He began serving the city as mayor in May 2014 after capturing nearly 61% of the vote. That's pretty impressive. He previously served 3 terms as a city council member from 2007 to 2013. During this time, the council appointed him to represent the city on the board of the Texas Municipal Power Agency, a power production station owned by 4 member cities, including Denton. He currently is in his 2nd term as board president. Mr. Watts graduated cum laude in 1983 from what then was North Texas State University, earning his bachelor's degree in computer science with a minor in business economics. He also holds a master's education degree in counseling and student services from the University of North Texas and a doctor of jurisprudence from the Texas Wesleyan University School of Law, the other TWU. Mr. Watts began investing in real estate while working as a computer programmer and analyst. After making real estate his full-time occupation, he established a real estate investment company and began building, buying, and rehabilitating single and multifamily properties. At the same time, he developed a mentoring program to help individuals learn how to build and manage real estate investment portfolios. Mr. Watts' combined interest in education and student services with real estate has given him the background to coach students for the American Bar Association Student Division negotiation competition, which he has done for the past several years. His teams won national championships in 2011 and 2013. It is a pleasure to have him with us today. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Chris Watts.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Board of Regents and Chancellor Phaeton, and staff and graduates and friends and family and loved ones here. What a privilege and honor it is for me to be able to celebrate with you today this date grave achievement, an achievement that has really been brought about by your willingness to commit, by your willingness to persevere, and simply by your just hard work. And so you are to be congratulated today because this is the beginning of a new phase in your life, and I'm certainly fortunate and honored to be here celebrating it with you. I want to start out with a story that will help illustrate a couple of things that I want to share with you towards the end of my time here. This is a story about a 13-year-old boy who was at the movies with his friend Sam. And like he would do always, every Saturday night when he's at the movies, he would call home to get a ride home from his mom. But this time that he called home was different. It was different because a strange voice answered the telephone and identified himself as a police officer. And the boy was like confused, a little scared, curious, but he explained to him, I just need a ride home and I need to talk with my mom. So the mom gets on the phone and tries to explain what is happening at the house, but the boy doesn't understand. So and at the end, he knows that Sam's parents are going to have to come get him and take him to the house. So they did, and he walked into the house, and there were police officers in the house, police cars out on the side of the road, and he saw people that he knew sitting in the living room with their hands behind their back, detained. There's a lot more to this story, but one thing is true, is that boy's life and that family's life changed that day. At the age of 14 and 15, he had to begin to work to help pay the family bills because it was quite an economic challenge in those days, and he had to help pay for his own needs. But he was able to pay his way through college, which was really the key to moving past this cycle that he had been in as a young boy and as a young teenager. And as he began to grow and as he began to learn about himself and get further education, he began to make decisions that were more consistent with who he was in his life. And eventually, that boy became the mayor of his city. And that story is my story. And the reason I share that story, thank you. Well, I share that story not to focus on me, but to focus on you. Because I know sitting out here today are many people who have similar stories. Maybe different facts, some stories that are quite frankly harder, some that may not be as hard, but stories nevertheless of overcoming adversity, poverty, and self-doubt. And I want to tell you, you are to be commended for that, because today marks the new beginning of your life that you can't even imagine. Because when I sat in your place some 30 years ago, no one could have ever told me that I would be here standing before you today as mayor of this great city, and it has been such an honor and a humbleness. And what I want to do is share with you a couple of things that you already know, but I want to just remind you and refresh your memory of things that helped me continue to move along my path through all different kinds of careers, through all different kinds of decisions, both good and not so good, heartaches, hardships, sadness, successes. But you've already done that. And the first thing I want to tell you is that you have to continue to believe in yourself. You have to continue to understand that you are very valuable, that you have great talent, that you have great abilities that can change not only the world around you, but the entire world if that's where it goes. And in order for me, that for me began to happen when I began to apply two basic principles. And the first principle was I first had to start with a place of acceptance of where I was, and an acceptance of who I was, and where I was in life, and sometimes the hardships that I had to overcome to get where I was. Because I knew without accepting myself, I could never really begin to form the foundation of change that was needed. Because if you don't accept yourself, then what you do is wind up comparing yourself to other people. And somehow when that happens, it's never good enough. You never make enough money, you never have the right job. But when you begin to really accept who you are and the great value that you have to the world, then things really do begin to change, because acceptance is the cornerstone of growth and believing in yourself and growing in your confidence. The second thing that helped me was I was willing to take risk, and I dare say many of you, if not all of you here today, have taken great risks to be here. You've made sacrifices with friends, with family, financial sacrifices for a greater common goal. So you have to be willing to take risks. There's really not much growth and strength development without risk. I took one of those risks after I got my computer science degree. I really didn't like doing that. It really wasn't consistent with who I was as a person. And so I quit my salary job to go into full-time real estate commission sales. And I will tell you, after the first year, I thought I had made the worst decision of my life. I made no money. I really didn't have much confidence in myself, and I thought, what have I done? Because I grew up fairly poor, and I knew I didn't want to have that experience again, but something kept calling me to a different life. And so continuing to work hard after 2 or 3 years, I began to build a business, and I began to have the life that I had dreamed of. And what was at one point thought to be the worst decision of my life actually turned out to be the best, because it set my life on a path that has taken me where I am today. So be willing to take risk. You're going to have a lot of people say to you, that job doesn't pay enough, or that job may be too dangerous, or that path might be too narrow. It might not have enough lights to show you where you're going. But you have to follow your heart. You have to follow your instincts. And if you do that, you will continue to grow in being aware of your talents and your abilities for what you can do in the changing the world around you. And the second thing that has helped me, that I think is more important than the first, and you ask, how can that be more important? How can accepting yourself and believing yourself, what can be more important than that? But this one is, because it's the mirror image of that principle. And that principle is to be willing to give that gift back to the world around you. None of us would be here today. I can tell you right now, I certainly wouldn't be. And from what I saw by the hoops and the hollers and the clapping and the tears, that you probably wouldn't be here today except for someone believed in you. Someone believed that you could do it. Someone believed that you had the talents and the abilities to seek out your dreams and to make a difference and to take a risk when you didn't really know how you would do it. All these people here, your friends and your loved ones, have been your cheerleader, and they've believed in you. And that's the gift. That's really the honor we have to give back to the community, to give back to others, our friends, our neighbors, maybe perfect strangers, a word of encouragement, a word of sharing with them and accepting them where they are and saying, you can do what you want to do. And I'll share a story with you, and I hadn't planned on doing this because it only happened yesterday. I was at a school, local school here, for Career Day. And there was an older gentleman there who was there as well, but he was mentoring a young student there. This is about 4th or 5th graders, okay? And he said that he was talking with his mentee, this young boy, and said, well, where do you plan on going to school? Well, I can probably tell you when I was that age, I probably didn't know where I was going to school either. But he said that the young boy looked at him and said, well, I'm not going to college. And he said, well, why not? And this is the response that that young boy had. And it literally broke my heart. This young boy said, because I'm too dumb. Because I'm too dumb. And what it made me realize is, see, the gift that you can give back to your community is the most important thing. As that gentleman is giving back to that young boy to say, no, that's not true. You can do that. You can move forward. And you're not too dumb to go to college. In fact, you're smart enough to go to college. And so I certainly encourage you, and I just give you that charge, because as people here have believed in you and have accepted you and sacrificed for you to be able to achieve this great day with your hard work and your commitment, be willing to pass that along. And in closing, I just simply say, believe in yourself, continue to do that. Surround yourself with people who love you, who care about you, who can give you honest feedback, not because they have a personal agenda, but because they really want to see you succeed. And then be willing to be that for someone else, with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, with those that you want to help out in the community through the different organizations. Be that person and pay it back. This is a great new stage in your life. Be excited. You have a whole book to write. This is simply a few chapters that you've gotten through. You've got many more ahead of you. You're only held back by your own fear and your sense of powerlessness, and there's no reason to be afraid, because I will tell you, being here today is a testament in your ability to set a goal, to make the sacrifices that are necessary to do that, and to move forward. I want to thank Texas Women's University for giving this opportunity, and I want to thank them for being such a great partner in their community, in this community. But more importantly, I want to thank them for being an institution that practices exactly what I just shared, and that is they invite people to come here, and the faculty and the staff and everyone here is committed to growing you, to sharing with you, to building your confidence, to giving you the right education so that they can send you out into this world, and that you can make a difference in this world, no matter how big or how small. It doesn't matter. Whether you change one life, that's all it takes. So thank you very much, and Godspeed on your journey.